Hello, this is Mike Mann from Zia Consulting. I'm going to go over a Moodle and Alfresco integration that we've performed. The example I'm going to give today is a minor correction workflow in Alfresco that's been defined for an English 101 course. The basic premise of this minor correction workflow is to initiate a minor correction request that gets submitted through workflow in an established business process that allows the teacher to go into Moodle, make changes to the course, save those changes into a development instance, submit those changes to an approval board, and then have the approval board do a series of actions to either approve or reject those changes and submit that to the production system, which then allows the students to go in and see those changes. What you'll see first is I'm logged in as a Mr. Elbow Patch. I have access to 3 courses. The ones we're going to talk about today are the 101 Dev and the 101 Prod. If I look at the English 101 Dev today, I see I have 4 elements in this first week. Read up on English, directory to show, TTMS, and Yahoo. If I log back and hit the Prod course, I can see those same changes. I've got Yahoo, TTMS, directory to show, and read up on English. You'll notice that I'm not able to turn on editing at this point. This role has not been enabled or been granted to me as the professor, as a non-editing professor. So what we're going to do now is log in to Alfresco, request a minor correction. It should take just a couple of seconds because it's running on my local machine. And you can see that I've established or kicked off a workflow. This correction pending status means that the minor correction workflow is disabled because there's an active one for an existing course. And this has been set up to have an English 101 course with a dev instance as well. And when we look at this, you can see the actions that I've got associated. I've got save changes, so I can say, go in here and record what sort of changes I intend to make. I can submit the correction to the review board. I can terminate the workflow and get it out of the minor correction workflow, or I can cancel out of this screen. What we should see when we go back over to the Moodle instance is if I hit a refresh on the dev instance, I should have the ability to turn on editing. And as you notice, that role was disabled last time. So what we're going to do in this instance is go in, modify the Yahoo link, change it to be Google to celebrate Google's new Ajax style search support. Save and return to the course and see our changes. So we've got read up on English, directory to show, TTMS, and Google. And I go back and look at the production course. You notice that that change has not been promoted yet. When I flip back over to Alfresco, I can mention that the Yahoo link was modified to show Google instead. And I'll submit this correction to the CLDD. The CLDD user for simplicity of the demo that I've got, and you've noticed that this is moved out of my tasks or pooled users, and that the correction is still pending. I've logged in as the admin user, which in this case is a member of the CLDD group or the editors group. I'm logged in as the admin user. Notice that I have a pool task, which is the English 101 task. I have the ability to look at the diff text by clicking this button, which will download the file, which I'll bring up in just a second, that will show the difference text. You can look and see that the production instance still says Yahoo, the dev instance says Google, and shows the different changes that were made into the system as well, including the name change and the Google reference, or the link reference. If I pop back over to the logged in as an admin user. Pop back over to the English 101 Dev course. I notice that Read Up on English, Direct You to Show, TTMS, and Google all exist. Google being the new link that was added. I can pop back over to the English 101 prod. Note that that change still says Yahoo. Be satisfied that the change was accurately made. Back over and say change is accurate. Please accept. Move this to a completed status and accept the workflow. Which again, this is running on my local machine, so it takes just a minute. So what you'll see now in the Moodle course, if I go back to here, I'll log out, I'll log back in as Mr. Elbow Patch. Look at my dev instance, which says Google. Notice there's no editing features. I go to my prod instance, which says Google. And what you've seen is a workflow that has been promoted through Alfresco, enabled in the editing interface of Moodle, and moved through a review and approve process. The last step that you see here is to basically take ownership of the actual task. Basically, someone says, yes, this has actually been physically moved and completed, and you can see this. The review minor correction was kicked off, the workflow task was started, and then the correction was submitted to CLDD. Once that is approved, you can just mark complete as the final action in this step, and this is a definable workflow step. You say done, and that moves it out of the minor correction state and back into, or enables the minor correction workflow and takes it out of the pooled user groups. The other thing is that the English 101 course, if we look at the history of it, retains an archive. This is an important requirement for users or for universities, is to be able to archive any of the changes that were made to a particular course that's in production. If we look at that, you can see under our courses, on our English 101 course, you can see a course archive, a Moodle course archive, and the difference text, and those two are related to the changes that we made, as well as any of the version history that we changed. Our version that we changed today is 1.5. So anything that goes through a formal approval process has been saved and archived off, is allowed to be stored or have a disposition or retention schedule applied to it as well. And you can also see a workflow history. So with that, that concludes the demonstration that we have today. Thank you very much for your time.